Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to episode 2 of Tales from the Emissaries. And as it's a little late, but as promised, this is the rest of the Knights decks. Now, pretty much, I've been super obsessed. Since before we've been obsessed with the Knights. Yeah, this is where we are now. We've been trying every combination, every possible combination, right? I actually don't have the fire water one that's been hashed out yet, but I have seen some out there. I'm kind of, you know, interested in what they're doing, but I still feel that every other color still has the best or better options, right, altogether. So today we have the Water Ice Knights, Ice Earth Knights with Splash of Lightning, and then Ice Lightning, which we'll get to it. We'll get to it, right? So, yeah, these have all tested average, right? Like, I like all the aspects that they can do, but comparing to some of the other stuff that's out there right now, it's just I don't know if I'm not doing it right, or it's lacking, or something's up, right? But anyway, Water Ice Knights, the Danes, Charlotte, Agrias, Laswell's, Lena, Sarah Mobius, Celestia, Shantoto, and Leviathan. The biggest thing here is obviously still you're going to play these guys to kind of control early if you're able to. The other thing is if you can steal, if Zidane can get through. So you're obviously your main mulligans are going to be for the Laswell Agrias package or Zidane. That's just it. The rest is Sarah and Ovelia is kind of what you're going for. You kind of want to be able to Ovelia into like your Leviathans or your Sarah Mobiuses or your Lenas when they die and stuff like that. Same thing with Agrias or Laswell's. You can use Shantoto to get back S abilities now, right? Like cards to play S abilities, right? So Shantoto is such a fantastic card. Like I really like this card, this set. I don't know if we've said this enough, but this card is really good. And then like the crystal ability is what really closes out games for you, right? So it has it's multi-purpose. This is what legendary should be doing, like all the time, right? Like, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Sarah Mobius is like a half engine, another way to use crystals, right? To Agrias should be generating crystals all the time. You have Sarah Mobius that can benefit off those. You have Shantoto that can benefit off those. Unfortunately, and the Lena, right, to reborn the Zidane, the Agrias, or the Laswell. You do have 2 S abilities, right? Other than the Avelia, you do have solution number 9. If you were in such a good spot that Zidane's been stealing you so many cards, and you can just straight S somebody, like you need the other copy, just play Shantoto and get it back and do it again, right? Like the fastest way to get these abilities out, Agrias to trigger, we have Simon, we have the Avelia. I wanted to put a Duke in here. I think I'm still testing without it, but you could definitely put a Duke Largan here to kind of pump, boost these numbers up a little bit for us. The important things are like Celestia as well is gonna keep everyone from being broken right away. So Celestia effectively protects the water characters from being Meralded from soirees and stuff, but it doesn't obviously protect you from the fire backup or whatever, but it's still very useful. And then ice characters are chosen, you can Dolan free something. So when these guys, they target Agrias while Celestia is out, they're going to discard and you get to Dolan free something. So while you're ramping up, if you're able to play Celestia to in conjunction with the Agrias and Laswell, there is going to be a big shutout, right? Because they won't be able to target them, and they're going to pay even more to do that, right? To deal with these guys, they're going to lose more CP because you're going to target stuff. You're going to choose their backline, ideally, right, to Dolan freeze. So, yeah, I don't know. The deck plays really well. The summons are probably could use some work, I think, still. Zilira is just, for breaks, Bismarck to bring back stuff, right? Like, if I want to replay the Laswells or the Totos and stuff like that, it's just like a one-of for just in case. But obviously it's also a battle trick. This is just also removal, and I kind of would cut the Leviathans. Like I would test 3 here or 3 here, right? Like this is just like up in the air. I also want to add another Biblos because we still love Biblos as well. Backups are simple: Summoner, Simon, Knights, crystals, negate summons, Searcher, Crystal. Yeah, this is just get back Agrius pretty much, right? Like it's also you can like I said, you want to trigger her, get the buff here. So the deck plays really well. Leviathan's your other big card, and stuff. So yeah, this one's fun. Again, remember I'll be leaving all these in the description for you guys if you guys haven't, so you guys can test them out on Octagon or at locals or whatever. Now, Ice Earth Knights. So originally this did not have the Knights package. It did have Rubble, but then I remembered that Rubble is a black mage, and that you could pitch him and recur him with both of these, right? So this whole like Lightning Earth engine is already great on its own. Being able to pick them up again, Shantotto is also part of the key. I love this card. I'm messing with the numbers, right? Like I'm testing with multiples right now. So like I definitely would bump this up to 2 or 3. Probably 2 because I think we'll stay at 2 because he has the ability to keep himself alive, right? So I think he's just a fantastic card. I really do. So right. So it's the same thing that we were talking about with Celestia, right? This kind of has like its own version of that. You can if you end up doing the aggro route, right? Like you end up dropping Laswell turn 1, Dolan Freeze their backup, Agrius turn 2, and then you start going from there, right? So they're freezing and you're doing stuff. Now Heretic Knight is that additional thing, right? You put this on ideally the Agrius, right, to keep going generating the crystals, but you could also do it on Laswell to keep him alive. The Aerith is also there for that, and so is the Charlotte, but giving them 4K and Brave is just such a good idea. Like when Agrius is at 8, is when she goes to 12, right? Like, yeah, she's kind of a big deal to deal with. She's kind of a big problem to deal with, and it makes you use the crystals more often, right? That's the only issue I found here, right? Earth didn't have as many stuff to use the crystals with that I enjoyed, so that's why we still have the Shantotto, but it's kind of a little wasted, right? And that's again, that's the problem we're having. So effectively we could just like cruise out all these backups because we don't have the Ramses or stuff like that. This one I haven't worked on so much, but we could just cut out all this stuff. Like these are the first drafts, right? This is what I'm bringing to you guys, right? That's the whole point of these videos. I'm giving you the thought process and the ideas and where they're going. I think this card is coming back, by the way, Ramu, with the monsters. Atamos, Biblos, Twintania, very important stuff. And then like being able to deal active 7K. There's your Chocobo, your Fat Chocobo, your Lazos, anything, right? Any of these weird like problem cards. This card answers it, right? And so I think it's very important for Lightning in general, anything that plays Lightning, to be running this card again. And so and if you have this Vivi, you play this Vivi, you get your guy back. You have enough Black Mage to do it. Like you can break a monster, give him haste, tap his ability, deal 8 or 12K, whatever, to something else. Things like that, things of that nature. The rest is kind of just supplementary, right? Like I'm just kind of like messing with the ideas of having an Aerith, a White Tiger, and Titans, and like ways to recur them and stuff, backup hate. I think this week coming up, I'll be working on this one more instead of the other ones, because I do really think there's a lot of options here in this deck. Also, I'm just, I love the Knight core, and then the more I play this Black Mage core, like I love it even more. So that's definitely where we are with this one. As always, guys, make sure to leave your thoughts and comments in the descriptions about the decks, whether you like them. I know we have some new followers, I think, that are just like the last Fire Ice one. I'm glad Fire Ice is making waves in the meta a little bit. We saw it at the Dutch Nationals and RVA and stuff like that. So I think I'm still convinced it holds water in the meta, but there are a lot of non-believers. Lastly is Ice Lightning. This is a purely rough draft. Pros of having the lightning element is you get the Agrius right away, right? You have the Duke, which means you get to search Agrius and you get to play her, and she's already got her buff, right? So you have that. Rams is also mostly lightning. I tried to fit in one of the forwards, but other than the cheap ones, I don't like any of the options really. Honestly, for this list, I'm kind of considering going back and adding the new Hio, the FFBE forward, the 1-drop that can become 7 and then 10K and then deal double damage. It just feels like such a good card that could belong in here. But as far as knights go, you have Zalbag. There's Daisadarge too, but I don't like his effect as much anymore. Plus, they're all 3 drops, so it's weird for me. Yeah, and then obviously Zeromus, Alcid, Toto, Shiva, and then I added this lightning package just for like straight removal. Again, we talk about the Ramu Odins and stuff like that, but I could, obviously part with these and add more Odins, right? Just to be more lightning efficient, I guess you could say. Or we could just cut them and then add the new one, right? Or just keep this one and add the new one that breaks a 2 and then a 4 if you've taken damage or something like that. But this could go. What I like the most about these decks is that they can start aggro. They could literally win a game in 4 turns, right? Like if your opponent doesn't have the answer for last one Agrius, and then you have the removal or the shutouts or whatever the cards to do it, right? Like all you really need is Agrius to attack once, Toto in your hand, and then at 4 damage or whatever you have the bodies, right? Like the Knights package will steal games more very often, right? If your opponent doesn't have the answers, and so this is kind of always that it always has that option, but you have the mid-range options, right? Like to it says Zeromus, and then like they're attacking. Your lightning forwards attack. Let's say these guys attack, you get to duel something. Then Shiva comes in, free something. If they manage to keep everything up, after your backups have been done, you can blink the Shiva, duel one thing and freeze everything. Then you Toto and freeze the board. Duel all the forwards, so they're all frozen for a whole turn, right? And then you can blink Shiva again or whatever, and then keep them. There's different scenarios there with that, right? Which is why I had it in the Fire Ice build originally. I still think those are very strong plays. Trying out with the X-Death Chadleys. I love Chadley. We've seen what this card can be used for. Unileska, I'm still not sure on yet, but this one is a purely draft speculative build. I know there was one that topped at a Masters, I think, event in Japan, but we haven't seen the list, and I can't seem to get a hold of it. Like we were able to find everything else from that tournament apparently, but except this deck. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, these are the lists. I want to say next week we'll have more information on this one, what I think would be actually playable, but the main thing that you should take away is that the Black Mage and the Knights packages are very strong. I'm still a big fan of Heretic Knight Garland. I think this card should go in a lot of anything that's playing Earth right now. He's a really strong card, just because he doesn't really die, right? You have to get rid of the other forward. You have to, like, whatever he gives the power to, you have to, because you're not gonna kill this guy unless you have multiple outs in response to the effect, right? Like, if you haven't run into this, have someone play test you with, like, in their deck or with them, whatever, with it, and you can see how quickly annoying he becomes. I'm looking for 2 more full arts for that card. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is episode 2. I will do my best to get episode 3 out as soon as possible. If you have any questions, obviously, on any of these decks, make sure to put them in the comments, and I'll get to you guys as soon as I can. Anyway, catch you later.